Game number 5, starting here, the Acer Team Story Cup. All the way to the bottom left, we have Acer's MMA. He was the one who finally took down 4GG, the starting player for Team Millenium. And here on Way Station, we have the second player, another Terran player actually, starting to the top right. This is DieStar. And an interesting choice to send out a Terran player against MMA after how well he just played in the last series. So that was pretty amazing to see. MMA definitely punishing 4GG for every single mistake that he made there. Got a very good fight off, especially at the beginning. But right now it's another Terran player that faces MMA and that wants to stare him down, force out the ace player of Team Acer. And so far Millenium has done a great job, but of course they need 2 more points if they want to win this match, and they're not there just yet. So let's see if DieStar is the one to take down MMA here and force out the last player of Team Acer, or if MMA is starting that comeback that he already initiated with a win over 4GG. The gas taken this time for MMA, and DieStar is going for his own gas, even a little bit faster than his opponent, so both of them starting with the refinery here. And a little bit more aggression that we're going to see there. So, going to be interesting to see how that leads up into the mid game. If we see both of them heading down the same path, maybe we see benches again, maybe we see a single drop, we could see a bit of Widow Mine play here, and also just one of them playing a bit more defensive, going into the Raven instead and the Viking support. Couple of things like that, so yeah. I mean, for now, we have in the main base the SCV already having a quick look at that. It's already over there and having a quick peek. The Reaper is being built here for DieStar, and the SCV of MMA is arriving all the way to the top right. He's gonna find out that there's a Reaper very soon, and then also, yeah, gonna die. That's just the fate that you suffer when you are the first SCV that is sent across the map. You gotta see the world, but it comes at a price. So, yeah, can't do anything about that. Well, maybe he is able to escape there. Not if he goes for these shenanigans and just sticks around a little bit longer, then it's not gonna work. But yeah, he can at least try to make it work. So, let's see. SCV. Sneaky. Apparently trying to move in and circumvent the Reaper, but the Reaper already saw the SCV and he doesn't care. He's like, yeah dude, like, it doesn't matter to me. So the SCV is still there. It's gonna go in and check again what MMA does, and there's not a lot that he can confirm here, because at this point there's really nothing that DieStar did compared to what he had earlier, but that SCV is definitely gonna die. Command Center is now being built, and this time it's actually on the low ground for DieStar, whereas MMA at least builds it in the main base, and Reaper versus Reaper didn't really work out for DieStar, so he moved back. The SCV up here should not be able to scout anything, but at least he saw for now that there's no second gas taken just yet, which is what DieStar does as soon as the SCV is out of the picture. So, in terms of scouting information, definitely DieStar getting the better position right now, and MMA not really finding out what he was hoping for here. He himself is also heading into his factory, of course, and adding the command center, as I pointed out a bit earlier. But he doesn't really know what DieStar is doing, and DieStar is trying to find out what MMA has in mind with his Reapers that are running at the main base. I think he could have, even if he committed, take down that SCV if he moves in right away, but then of course it was very likely to lose at least one of the Reapers, if not both of them. But he's already sneaking in again, and well, moves over there, and I'm not quite sure, maybe if he goes into the mineral line he can get an SCV kill here. He seems to be very eager to not lose any of those units, and for good reason. We have the first Widow Mine being built for MMA here, so it looks like it's going to be a starport opening with a medevac for him. Whereas on the other side of the map, we have that Banshee commitment with a second gas taken, all the gas that he needs, of course, for his cloak as well. The double Reaper at the front with the Hellion. I don't think that he saw that base, right? No, he didn't. So MMA still doesn't know if there's a base or not. He just saw the extra Reaper, and that's about it. But of course, he is suspecting that there is one. And the advantage that DieStar definitely gets over his opponent is that he's currently already in possession of the second mule, and he has that mineral line. Whereas MMA is sending his units over just now, or his base that is. So, yeah, poor Reaper. Didn't even get the scouting information just yet. But yeah, at this point, DieStar with slight advantages in the game, just slight ones. It's those tiny ones at the beginning that could snowball at some point if you get more than that, but then you have a Widow Mine that kills an Hellion, and maybe a second one about to die, all the units at the front protecting the base, and in the end, DieStar can't really do anything about it. It's more a question how much damage the Banshee is going to do in the end, and with the engineering being already completed, we will see missile turrets once that he needs them. So looking at the bottom left, we have MMA right now in a position of, in total, 30 harvesters against 32. It's the Raven for DieStar instead of the Banshee. Most likely gonna, well, this has one Banshee, so he's gonna go through the cloak and then for the Raven. The drop, on the other hand, is already on the way into the main base, and that's a double Widow Mine drop that he has there. Already trying to sneak over towards that ramp. Oh, that's a great Widow Mine right there. Oh my god! Wow, damages a lot, but kills only 2. Has another kill of 2 over here. And MMA in a decent spot, but the Banshee is also doing its work, moving in and taking down the first SCV that is trying to build that missile to it, killing even more. But the problem for him is that we have also, of course, the Viking here. Yeah, in vision of the Raven, and therefore can't really do a whole lot about that. Their Banshee goes down, but the rest of the army, especially of course the Hellions, sneaking in at that natural, taking down even more harvesters, losing only like 2 Hellions there. In totally lost 3, 8 harvesters against 13 on the other hand, and we have MMA in a position where he says like, dude, I'm not even done yet. Moving in again, but at least the Widow Mines are taken out, because the Raven was able to provide him at least with a bit of vision. So looking at the harvester count, we have 27 against 36 in favor of DieStar actually. DieStar was able to kill quite a few units here, 13 against the 9, and if you just look at the resources lost and in total, then also the advantage here for the Millenium player. Oh, actually it's for MMA in terms of resources lost, but if you look at the if you look at the harvesters and the mining time lost, then the story changes a little bit. So kind of evening up in the end, but the overall supply advantage here now for DieStar, who takes that slight lead. MMA still eager to do damage with his medevac and trying to drop into the mineral line again, but we have units very close by, and that includes a Viking that is trying to just push this medevac even further back, which he succeeds in as well, so that works out well for him. Bottom left of the map, what we currently have here is MMA in a situation where he is just very, very eager to not only get his stim upgrade out there, but of course on the other hand also wants to make sure that he has his bioforces. DieStar doesn't really care about that all too much, because he is going into mech. He doesn't care about the bio, and already has quite a couple of Hellions here in the game with the Blue Flame Hellion upgrade now lined up. So we see once again that it's clash between bio and mech that we already had in game number 1, or yeah, in the first Terran versus Terran that we saw today, between MMA and 4GG, whereas the bio player was definitely able to get ahead. But DieStar playing a pretty decent game here in game number 2, and is way ahead in harvesters now compared to his opponent. But MMA starting the earlier third base here, command center now on the way, and still that task force with the Raven trying to find out if there's maybe another medevac somewhere that he needs to take on. But it's not really the case right now, so no danger of him being attacked anytime soon. And both of them just playing this a little bit laid back. A lot of missile turrets now being built. DieStar really doesn't want to end up in a situation like 4GG did, where suddenly drops are harassing him everywhere on this map. So playing this a lot closer to home, and very, very passive in this regard, at least for now. At the bottom left, with MMA completing the +1 upgrade, going straight into the armor upgrade, and about to be completing not only stim but also combat shield, and that will enable him then to put a little bit of pressure out there and show maybe his opponent who's boss, maybe not quite. But he's already moving out right now, for of course trying to claim the third base as well, once that he has the command center here completed. And to the top left, well, seems like DieStar is about to be ready. He has a pretty sick force already out on the game, and this time it's not like MMA has the opportunity to really contest his opponent's Viking count just yet, because that's what he did in the first game against 4GG. He was able to win the air battle, and then the Banshees just doing all the damage, whereas right now he doesn't have those Banshees, and he doesn't have the superior Viking count either. There's also at this point the Raven that can go for the point defense drone, so that's going to tilt the scales even more in favor of DieStar. And DieStar's going for it. He's moving in, he has been spotted, and he tries to aim straight for the siege tank that we see down here, Tanks are sieging up everywhere, and the Vikings are going for his opponent's, well, medivacs, at least he wants to. The problem is that now suddenly this entire base over here is very wide open, and that's something that DieStar wants to exploit by just setting the siege tanks up, an attempted flanking position by MMA here, trying to utilize that. But this is a very annoying situation for MMA. He's already being attacked here at the front, and now he is moving in. He has to. He's trying to just make it work from all those angles that he's using right now, but with good unit control, DieStar should be able to get ahead here, and he actually is at the beginning, but the siege tanks now are not numerous enough to really take down the bioforces. MMA with a split just crushes this army. The initial engagement starting to tilt in DieStar's favor, and then it's just those marauders from the side that take down tank after tank, and not really a whole lot that DieStar could do about that in the end. He didn't have enough siege tank with this composition. MMA immediately tries to go for counter-aggression there and pushing his opponent back, but not as successful as he was hoping for. DieStar already had the reinforcements, but still, the mobility of the red Terran player is gonna work in his favor, of course. And keep in mind that this third command center that we already have for them is no joke either, because DieStar doesn't have that third CC yet. He's currently building it. Hellions are roaming the map, and another thing that we are seeing is that drop in the main base, and that's a big issue right now, because Marauders can do all the burst damage, and that's exactly what they're going for at this point. Need, of course, to retreat a little bit from those siege tanks, but the entire mineral line is still open, and they can do the damage right here, killing SCVs as we speak. The siege tank is going down eventually, but at this point he's doing so much. Forcing the command center of the mineral line, taking down the gases, which is always annoying for a mech player, and he's getting another set of siege tanks as well. Should probably have even committed more, because he's not getting out with these units anytime soon anyways. But for now it's just the Hellions that he's going to annihilate here. Going for another siege tank as well, not really able to get it, but this tilts the scales in favor of MMA quite heavily. Army supply is a little bit better for DieStar, granted, but the 2-2 on the way, the third base established at the bottom of the map, the harvester count heavily in favor of MMA, that third mule that we talked about already, and the very mobile force that we see in the center of the map, that gives MMA just this position in the game that he needs. So DieStar is definitely struggling a little bit against this, and it's not gonna be too easy for him to come back here, because the third base is what he needs. And MMA is not really willing to give him that. MMA is actually instead just trying to just get his army in even a bigger supply advantage than it is already, 70 against 63 at this point. But he has a much better income. I mean, let's highlight this once again. Income here much better, especially when we're talking about the gas, of course, with the 6 refineries against the only 4 that we currently see there. So that's something that works as well. If you look at supply block time and idle worker time in the mirror match, of course, always super interesting. Then we have right now both of them with nearly in the identical numbers. And it looks like DieStar really wants to go for a second wave, and he's moving in already. Here comes MMA, the SCVs at the front taking some of the damage. Maybe that's exactly what he needs, but no, DieStar is dropping in supply way too fast. It's only the siege tanks left, 50 supply. This is gonna be game. MMA with 107 supply against 38. DieStar scanning again, just confirming what he already knows, leaves the match, and it is MMA with another win. 2 in a row right now, back to back, taking down 2 Terran players. A 2-3 score now in the ATC match between Acer and Millenium.